So you just picked up cycling and are having a blast experiencing this newfound sense of freedom and adventure until you hear unusual sounds or experience your first flat. I've been there and had a ton of questions. Is the rest of my bike going to fall apart? Is this clicky sound normal? Do I need to buy a new bike? Which is a totally sound solution. We each have our own comfort level when it comes to bike maintenance. And for some, maybe it's just easier to drop it off at a bike shop and call it a day, and that's totally fine. As a beginner cyclist, having some very basic preventative maintenance tools on hand will not only allow you to perform routine bike care at home, but more importantly, it will help you ensure a smooth and safe riding experience and feel more empowered on the road. Here are some initial tools that help you with basic preventative bike maintenance and repairs in between yearly tune-ups. If you have other tools that you prefer, do share them in the comments. It's always cool to hear what's new out there. A floor pump is an indispensable tool for any cyclist. Having properly inflated tires keeps you safe on the road. If you have inner tubes and it's underinflated, you run the risk of damaging your rims and experiencing a pinch flat. And a pinch flat is basically when the wheel encounters too much abrupt, sharp pressure, like rolling through a pothole, causing the tube to pinch out of the rim, leading it to burst, which forms a cool looking snake bite. But that's not the goal. When I first got my bike, I rode every week and didn't pump my tires for 2 months because they were already fully inflated when I got it. Why do I need to inflate them again? It wasn't until I took it back to the bike shop when I learned that I needed to do it at least once a week. Oops. Apparently, they slowly deflate like balloons over time. Who knew? That's how new I was to cycling. And I started when I was in my mid-20s and was learning the ropes all by myself. Needless to say, I was riding underinflated for months. So get a floor pump and check your tire pressure before every ride to be safe. You could find my floor pump in the description. So how do you find out what your ideal tire pressure is? Use this tire pressure calculator by Silca to determine how much pressure to put in the front and rear tires. Punch in some basic information about your total weight, riding style, wheel details, and hit calculate. Use that as your baseline tire pressure. Next, chain checker tool. This less than $20 chain checker tool can save you hundreds of dollars. It's an inexpensive preventative maintenance step that helps you get maximum life out of your drivetrain components. When a chain is worn, it leads to poor shifting, which causes a wearing down domino effect to the rest of your components. And when that happens, you'll end up needing to replace the more expensive parts, like the cassette and crankset. So, how does it work? It's basically a go, no-go gauge. So if it slips in easily at 0.5, it means it's time to replace the chain. That's the general rule of thumb. Depending on the manufacturer, you could push it to 0.75 wear. So it's much cheaper and time-saving to replace your bike chain than to pay hundreds more and swap out 4 other parts of your drivetrain. I check my chain every 2 to 3 weeks and I ride about 60 to 100 miles a week. With this tool, I slot it into 3 different points on my chain just to get a better idea of the overall chain wear. If you ride less, you could probably get away with it once a month. Next, grab yourself a pair of tire levers. I have this set of Pedro's bicycle tire levers that are my go-to. It's less than 10 bucks and on the chunky side, so it's ergonomic and sturdy, especially on stubborn tires. And I like that they're plastic so they don't scratch my rims. I've seen metal ones and just imagining using them gives me anxiety because of the possibility of scratching my rims and sounding like fingernails on a chalkboard. So I carry these with me on all of my rides and when I do maintenance at home. And I've had 0 issues with these. You'll find so many tire levers online, even free ones. So try a variety and see what works for you. This tire beat jack is like having a third hand and saves your thumbs from aches and pains. When you're installing a tire, it can literally turn into a full body workout. I've even started sweating just putting my tires on my wheels. And if you're like me, you'd rather save that energy for being on the bike. I bring this on my rides alone, even if it's on the bulkier side. I have 2 of these. I leave one in my repair kit bag and one in my tool set. It comes in clutch, and I highly recommend this to all of my friends. If you can do it without using one, more power to you. Having mechanic gloves makes the whole bike maintenance process feel cleaner, and it's reusable compared to disposable latex gloves. In fact, the ones I own are just gardening gloves that are half the price of specific bike mechanic gloves. This actually makes me more willing to get my hands dirty, and it saves my fingernails. They're grippy and durable where they need to be and keep the grease and grime away. It holds up well against the spiky parts of the bike, like around the drivetrain. I like the Pedro chain cleaning machine because it's easy to use and I like the form factor for storage. You can start by attaching this hook to the pulley, pouring degreaser up to the line, pedaling the crank backward, emptying it, and then refilling it with warm water to rinse. If it's really dirty, you may need to empty the degreaser and do another round with it. After rinsing it with warm water, you'd let it completely dry and then re-lube it. And you're good to go. Before my waxing days, I used this cleaning machine every week or so, and I love the feeling of having a smooth chain run against my drivetrain. In conjunction with the chain cleaning machine, get yourself a degreaser. I use the simple green degreaser on my chain. It's so cheap and efficient for the amount that it comes with. When you ride for hours on end with re-lubing in between rides, there will be a significant amount of buildup in the links, like dirt and grease. If the chain continues to build up without cleaning, it wears the chain down even more, causing unnecessary noise and impacting the rest of your components. When I sprayed on my cassette, I let it sit for a few minutes and then flossed the cogs with an old t-shirt. There are plenty of bike-specific degreasers out there as well. If you're looking to save money where you can, I recommend getting the degreaser. Speaking of old t-shirts, save money and make use of old clothes, towels, and even bed sheets. I cut these up and use them to do a quick wipe down of my frame and my bike chain. If I attend an event and they offer a free t-shirt, I get an extra large because why not? It's so flowy to wear around and I can just give it a second life afterwards. Of course, be mindful of the frays and threads that can accidentally get caught in the pointy parts of the bike. At this point, you probably get the idea that the chain requires frequent maintenance. These chain link pliers are also handy when you need to replace your chain, which is very easy to do yourself once you get the correct chain that matches your drivetrain. For example, if you have a 10-speed drivetrain, make sure your chain is compatible with a 10-speed drivetrain, as long as you have a Chainbreaker tool. I use the pliers once every 2 to 3 weeks because I wax my chain and I swap between two chains. Speaking of Chainbreaker tools, get a multi-tool that includes a chain breaker. Honestly, I break my chain a couple times a year at most, and it's mostly to cut a new chain to size. In emergencies where there's a mechanical issue, I've had to use this on the road to cut the chain and turn my bike into a single speed. Owning a dedicated chain breaker tool does have ergonomic benefits, of course. If comfort is a priority, by all means invest in a dedicated tool. Because of my infrequent use and small living space, I just use my chain breaker tool that's integrated in my multi-tool. I really just want to keep my tool set simple and work with what I have. Just like your body, there are preventative measures to take to ensure your body is functioning as optimally as possible between checkups. I consider these level 1 maintenance skills and tools. There are hundreds of tools out there. Start with one that fits within your budget or that others suggest, and eventually upgrade them when you feel like you found something lighter, smaller, more ergonomic, etc. So, what tool do you recommend for starters? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching. Bye!